took me a long time to find one, but now here it is. Let's talk about Howea. What's up, fellow plant enthusiasts? My name is Dylan and this is Bane's Botanicals. Today we're going to be talking about Howea. Now, I'm sure that there are other ways to pronounce that. Howea, Howea, I don't know. I'm going to go with Howea because it just looks like it makes sense. Howea is also known as the sentry palm or the kentia palm. I've heard it called both, and it's just referring to this palm that is actually quite majestic. I'm a little confused why this one wasn't called Majesty Palm because I absolutely love the beautiful kind of the foliage with the leaves that kind of drape down. I'm going to do some B-roll so that you guys can actually see the size of this plant and kind of see how each leaf just kind of hangs just so majestically. It's kind of difficult to find, and when you do find it, it's a little on the expensive side. I think, I'm looking around, I think this is the most I've ever paid for a house plant, and it was about $150 before tax. So yeah, and that was on sale, I believe. I think the actual price was about $200. Now, it's a really good sized plant. And this is not a plant that you're going to find in a smaller pot or a smaller size unless you order it online. Most of the ones that you'll find are actually quite large. It's just kind of how it is. And I think right now this is, I don't know if this is my biggest plant because I have a strelitzia sitting outside that might actually be bigger, but it's close, if not the biggest. It's a beautiful plant. It's been really good to me so far. And I think that one of the advantages of Howea over other palms is that it can do better in variable light conditions, and it tends to just be a little easier going, which we'll get into some of the care here in a minute. But for now, here is the taxonomy information for Howea. And as you can see, we're in the family Ericaceae. And Ericaceae is the family that holds the true palms. So this is not the ponytail plant, the cardboard plant, what was the other one? The sago plant. All of those are not palms like they say they are. This is an actual palm. And this is the plant that I was looking for in my shopping video I did a couple months ago. I didn't end up finding this plant at that particular greenhouse. I found it at another one that I still need to do a video on. But it was a really good find. It was the last one, and it was on sale, like 25% off. So yeah, I got super lucky. I'm really glad I got it because I've been looking for it for a long time, and I did want to do a video on it for you guys. So before we get into the actual care, there are a couple of general tips that you should know about palm care that applies to all palms. And one of them is that probably once a season, you're going to want to flush out the pot to help remove excess salt buildup, because palms are particularly sensitive to salt buildup in the soil. And this can come from watering with tap water. This can come from artificial fertilizers. It's just something that will happen over time, and you just want to make sure that you're flushing your pots. Also, palms tend to get brown tips. That's just kind of how it is. Every palm that I've ever had, every palm that I've seen in other people's houses, that I've seen at the store, they just end up getting brown tips because we can't provide the exact environment that they come from, like the exact amount of humidity, the exact frequency and amount of rain that they get when they're outside. And even outside, they probably get some imperfections. But imperfections are part of what make our houseplants unique. So every now and then, it's not a bad idea to just kind of trim off the brown edges, and you don't want to cut into the green part. Find the line between the brown and the green and go just above that on the brown part and just give it a little snip. And that'll just kind of clean up the look a little bit, just to make it look a little more presentable. I do it a lot with my Rhapis palm just because for some reason it gets brown tips like crazy. I haven't quite mastered that yet, but I will. But this one doesn't even really have brown tips. I mean, it has the slightest little bit on the very ends. This might be more common too if you're watering with tap water just because of hard minerals and things, but anyway, yeah. So as far as care goes, this really benefits from bright and direct light. Now, I said it can survive in variable light conditions, and truthfully, you could probably get away with medium light with this. I still wouldn't go low light just because in general plants don't really like low light. Some of them can tolerate it, but if you're wanting your plant to thrive, I mean really medium is probably the lowest you want to go. Now I've got mine kind of covered partially by a curtain, but it is still getting some sun from the window and everything, and it is getting some decent light. Now I did not put this outside for the summer just because it was so expensive. I didn't want to risk burning it. But if you acclimate it, I believe you can probably get away with putting it outside just because, I mean, it's a palm tree and palms really like being outside. So as far as water goes, just water it regularly. I've got mine in a terracotta pot just to kind of prevent it from backlogging like too much water. But the thing about palms that I guess I forgot to mention was that they like to be watered frequently, but they benefit from being in kind of a well-draining mix. So I have mine in a cacti succulent mix that has some of that extra sand and perlite for drainage, just because in nature they get rained on frequently, but then they dry out frequently. So it's kind of a back and forth thing. So, you know, we try to replicate that in our homes a little bit. This may be a plant that you end up watering slightly more often than your other plants, depending on how big it is, depending on what kind of pot you put it in. But that's normal. Like you want it to dry out and then you want to soak it and dry out and soak it. It's just, it happens on a more frequent basis than say some of your other plants will. But it can dry out some, of course. You know, you don't want to water it if it's already wet because again, you don't want to risk getting any sort of bacterial, fungal, root rot, anything like that, any kind of infection. But it can dry out. Some other palms don't like to dry out at all very much. Like I had a lot of trouble with Livistonia and my Rhaphis. I probably don't water enough because it just keeps getting brown. But this one can dry out. Now, let's see, we did soil, did the pot. Humidity, it likes humidity. It benefits from some extra humidity. Is it necessary? Maybe not in the summer. In the winter, probably. The central heat of our homes just dries out the air so much that it's just a good idea to put it on like a pebble tray. A humidifier is probably your best bet just because your other plants will benefit from that as well. I'm going to have to figure something out for the wintertime because I don't have this with my other plants. It's kind of by itself right now, so I'll probably do the pebble tray. But yeah, most tropical plants, even if they can tolerate low humidity, they benefit from having humidity because that's what they're used to. But yeah, palms also tend to get mites, like spider mites. They're a little more susceptible to pests for whatever reason. They just are. Part of it is the shape of the leaves. That's just like the leaves are shaped in such a way that, you know, spider mites can build webs in there very easily. And the easiest way to just kind of combat that is be proactive and maybe once a month or, you know, maybe once every couple of weeks, spray it down. Stick it in the shower, spray that sucker down, and just that helps keep the leaves clean too. You know, it keeps the dust from building up, but it also helps control pests. And if you do get spider mites, you can use neem oil, just kind of be careful. Some people say not to use neem oil. I haven't really had a problem with it, but there are other alternatives to neem oil that you can use. But just do a little test section first, whatever you're using. You know, you don't want to scorch your plant or damage it, you know, do the whole thing and suddenly your plant dies because of something wrong. But honestly, if you're just nervous about chemicals, just spray it down. I mean, honestly, if you spray a plant down good, the spider mites, I mean, you wash them away. There could be eggs, but if you just kind of stay on top of it, you know what I mean? Like it's not necessary to douse your plants in chemicals unless it's a really bad infection. But yeah, I think the species name starts with an F. I'll look it up after. You think I would just come prepared and, you know, have it written down someplace, but nope, I'll just do it after. Most of the times I have trouble pronouncing the species names anyway, so this will avoid me the embarrassment. But yeah, Howea, really cool plant. Really one of the more coveted palms of the, you know, the main palms that you find as houseplants. So if you happen to find one at a good price, I recommend getting it, but you're probably still going to be paying more than you expect. So yeah, but still pretty reliable and very majestic. If you're looking for that tropical look in your home and you just want something that is tropical but at the same time very relaxing, this is a good plant. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for your likes and subscribes and your comments. Let me know what your experience is with Howea and how much you paid for it. I'm curious about that too. So part of the reason that palms in general are expensive because they take a long time to grow. If you've ever watched a time-lapse video of a palm growing from a seed, it takes a really, really long time. And the more time it takes, the more money it's going to cost. So anyway, thank you guys so much. And until the next video, I will see you very soon. Thank you.